Welcome to Jen Care's Live Talks powered by Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, the show that brings the community to you Mondays at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Here we engage in tough talks and meaningful conversations, featuring guests that help us stay in the know. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to never miss a show. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
You would think that's my jam. They're not even saying nothing. It's just a groove. You need a good groove sometimes. But good evening and welcome to Jen Cares Live, powered by Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors. I am your host, Jen Cares, the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. And here at Jen Cares, we specialize in bringing the community to you. And we love tough talks and meaningful conversations. So come on, join the conversation. We thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Special thanks to Dr. George for joining us last week as we talked about giving ourselves permission in 2026. Tonight I brought back a friend so that we could go from reflection to intention. You know, we're at the beginning of the year, and though we have reflected on how 2025 was, I want us to move with intention for 2026. Now, last week, your homework was to write out your narrative, how you view your life. What are your highs? What are your lows? To kind of know where you're trying to go for 2026. I hope you did your homework. If you didn't, there's still time. There's still time. And I simply just want you to write out how you see your life story. Is it going how you wanted to go? I do some groups with some young people. And in our first group, we talk about if you were to leave today, if you were to die today, how would you want to be remembered? It's kind of the same thing. Are we doing everything of creating our legacy to be all that we want to be? I know, pretty deep, but it's also real. We all have our time to go, right? But complete that assignment tonight. We're going to get some more homework. Why? Because we're reflecting on that narrative, and now we're going to shift to be intentional about the story we are creating. So help me welcome the amazing Coach Jenay.
Hello. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, we are so happy to have you back. Thank you for coming back. As we're today going to just get in people's business, get in my business, because that's how it works.
I got you. We can do that. We can do that a little bit.
Cool. So how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I can't believe that it's almost the end of January. I feel like we just got here and now it's about to be over. So I've been having to be intentional about a lot of things so that I can get done what I want to get done.
Now that's pretty big. The month is almost over. And how we start our month is like, the lens for how the year will go. So being intentional, trying to be ahead of the game. Oh, it's a process.
It is. And I always like to be able to start the year out with my plans and my goals and what I want to do, but also like at the same time, giving myself grace that let's say I didn't get to January with my goals written out. It's okay. Because then I can always start today. Even if it's February, I can start then because I still have 11, 10 months left of the year to jump back into whatever I need to jump into.
And that's a big part, like giving ourselves grace and being kind to ourselves, because we do still have time to make it happen. Now the hope is that we don't wait till December to make it happen. But even if we do, I know we got some procrastinators out there, but that's why we're trying to have these intentional conversations about being intentional about our 2026.
Yes, definitely. Starting now is best. It's never any condemnation. And maybe last year was the year where you wanted to jump in, but you didn't get to jump in the way you wanted to. It's okay. You can start today. Today is a new day, and now is better than never.
Now is better than never. I like it. So let's get on into it, because I got a lot of questions for us to try to get to. Yeah. We'll see. You know how it goes.
How it goes.
Okay, so as always, we have a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day, when it wants to let me work out, you over here being producer. Oh, Let me try again.
We're going to give it some time. Let it marinate.
Let me give it some time. It's a little nervous.
Let it marinate.
You know what? I'm just going to say what the quote of the day is. Okay. Today's quote of the day is, The key is not to prioritize your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. And that's by Stephen Covey. Again, the key is not to prioritize your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. What are your thoughts on that quote?
Ooh, that was good. That was good because I think even for myself, I find myself like beholden to what I have on the schedule, but I need to make sure that what's on my schedule is important to me, right? The things that
Mm,
I feel like that I'm supposed to be doing and prioritizing. So I
yeah,
put priority on the schedule, right? The schedule doesn't dictate what I do. And if the priorities aren't getting met, I can always go back to my schedule and reorganize it as needed. Now, some season it's hard to do that because you feel like you might be locked into certain things, but it's
hmm
good to let go if you need to. Like you
yeah,
got to pivot when you need to. That's very important. Yeah.
very true, very true. And that's big of like know what our priorities are. Sometimes we don't know what our priorities are, right? We got to identify is
Yeah.
this really important? Because sleep is very important, but sometimes people are like, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. You do need to rest here, or I'm heavy set, so my body will eat the, fat that I got in. That's not how it works. You still got to eat food.
Right.
So priorities to make sure we're getting sleep, we're getting rest, we're
Yeah.
eating, drinking water, getting some fruits and vegetables, all those
Absolutely.
things we learn, right? So identifying and knowing what your priorities are really, really important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love what you said about taking care of your body because
Mm-hmm.
I have learned the hard way that if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of my priorities,
Mm-hmm.
or when I think I'm taking care of my priorities, it's not getting done as effectively as it could if I
Yeah.
was taking care of my body. If I'm taking care of my body and my mind and definitely my relationship with the Lord, then one, I can think straight. That's
Yeah.
just baseline, just being able to think straight, having a
Yeah.
clear mind. And a lot of times we're suffering from not being productive because we're not taking care of the things that help us be productive.
So good. So good. So, friends, I have drafted some questions, but if you have any questions as you are working to move from reflection to intention, as you are
Mhm.
working to identify your priorities, be sure to drop them in the comments below. So, the first question, we are at the 19th day of the year. How would you say the year is going?
How is the year going? I know for myself personally, my year is starting off with a good bang, right?
Okay.
And I have a lot of new priorities. I'll say
Mm,
that a lot of new priorities, a lot of new responsibility, and figuring out where it all falls and how to manage it well,
mm,
and knowing when to reflect. So I
yeah.
know we did reflection of the year, review of the year, but and in all honesty, like I gotta do like monthly reviews. I need to do weekly reviews to
Mm,
ensure that one, I'm not getting ahead of myself or that I'm not checking in or that I've missed something. And we miss things all the time. I miss stuff all
mhm,
the
mhm.
time. But when I
Yeah.
do, I want to be able to get back to baseline and do what I need to do. And I think that's the nature of it. That's how you continue on with your goals. Because if you never check in with yourself or others that you need to check in with,
Mhm.
you might get away from the priority, the main thing.
That's good. I like that. I often share how our job does an annual review. We should also do an annual review. But also
Hmm.
with that, we also get monthly supervisions. And sometimes if you've been having some challenges, you get some weekly check-ins, some bi-weekly check-ins, depending on the
Right.
situation, right? And it really
Yeah.
is the same with our lives where we need to do like a monthly check-in just to make sure we are knocking out our goals because we'll get to November and be
Yeah.
like, what did I do? So you have to
Yeah.
check in every so often just to make sure you're on the path that you're trying to be on for your priorities.
Yes,
So that's really good.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it takes practice. It takes
Mhm,
practice. I remember the first time I even just wrote anything down, wrote down my goals. I was like, okay, let me try this out. Let me write it down. Let
yes.
me see if actually anything is going to happen. But
Mhm,
even just setting out the intention, it was nice to
yes.
look back at the year and say, oh, I did half of these,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
then I was able to go back and, do it in a manner that helped me accomplish those goals fully.
Yes, I was at work the other day and I wrote out a to-do list of things I wanted to get done. And I felt like I had more boxes that weren't checked. I was like, oh, but wait, I did this too. So I had to add some things. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, now this list is looking good because I knew I was productive. It wasn't even 11 o'clock and I had knocked some things out the park, right? So it's also that part
Hmm.
of us sitting down to really reflect, right?
Yeah.
To know what we have completed and then move with
Yes.
intention of what needs to be done today and what can I move to tomorrow, because we don't have to fix everything in one day.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly. I love that. I love that.
yes. But I'd say the same. The year is going pretty well. Being intentional about the things that I want to do this year, to not get distracted, to stay on course.
Yeah.
Working on some projects, try to get those out the way, and then new things come
Hmm.
along. But staying focused on, again, the priority of the project, that's a big bread and butter compared to something
Hmm.
that's just gonna be some cheese and grapes. We like the cheese and grapes, but bread and butter, we need that to keep it going and things of that sort.
Yes.
So in today's topic, we're talking about reflection, from reflection to intention.
Hmm.
How would you describe living intentionally?
I think I was thinking about this a lot. Living intentionally means that you do things expecting a result. So you do something, you set it out to do something. Now you don't know the outcome of everything. And especially if it's your first time doing something, you may not know how effective it's going to be, but doing it, knowing and thinking like something's going to happen. That's living intentionally. That's doing something intentionally, because if you set out doing something and you don't have any expectations, how do you approach that thing? You know what I mean? What does that look like? And sometimes, again, we do that sometimes and we can be pleasantly surprised, but not always think, wow, what if I put more intention into this? What result would have I gotten? So that's what I think about.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Being purposeful, right? Again, when we have our priorities in order, we can make good, sound decisions.
Hmm.
Um, One of the quotes that I do with the kids is something to the extent of, when you know what your values are, it's not hard to make decisions, right? So when we know what our values are, it
Yeah.
helps us to be intentional about our lives. I value my life. I
Yes.
value having a roof over my head. I'm going to pay my mortgage. I'm going to pay the bills,
Hmm.
things of that
Hmm.
sort. But sometimes you be like, you know what? Maybe that's not important. And if that's not important to you, okay. I value the stability of having a roof, right? And that's big too, because it speaks to the thing of how my priorities might not be your priorities, right?
Yeah.
My idea of living
Hmm.
intentional might not be your idea of living intentional, and respecting it, respectfully disagreeing. I
Yes.
want a roof over my head. I'm sure some people in the comments, y'all want a roof over your head, right? But
Hmm.
what that looks like could be different. Somebody might
Yes.
enjoy living at a hotel. There was a couple, they are living on a cruise because they find it to be cheaper as they're now in retirement. It looks different for everybody, but finding what works for you is really important.
Yes. That's so, I love that, because sometimes we want to compare ourselves, and that's another
Hmm.
thing. Comparison can be a killer, even with being intentional. And
Hmm.
intentionality looks like something different for everybody. That's why being able to sit down and like think through what you're doing, think through what
Hmm.
the things that you have to manage and what that looks like, because you don't want to be chasing somebody else's intentionality,
Yes.
because it's going to
Yeah.
have a different result. It may not be
Yeah.
the result that you need.
May not be the result that you need. I like it. So, friends, I don't know if y'all know. I think y'all do, but I always like to have a notepad and pen. I encourage you to get a notepad and pen, because we're going to really be intentional today. I like when people write stuff down, because you can hear it and you say, I'll go back and listen to it, and you may or may not. But when we write it down,
Hmm.
it helps us to kind of see it a little bit better, right?
Yes.
So, the first question is, we want to explore how to identify what truly matters to you. So, what does that process look like?
How do I identify what truly matters to you? I think one, figuring out what causes you to be agitated and or excited, right? What are some things that you get excited about or you get upset about? It means you care about it one way or the other, okay? And if it's something that comes up often, you might want to explore that. Even if that may not be the thing that you need to be working on, that may not be the mission for you. Maybe you get upset when you hear about all the kids who are getting shot and getting hurt and don't have a home, and that really agitates you. Maybe you want to look into that, and it could lead you to something else that you should could be working on. Maybe it might lead you to be able to support families with food, be able to go into counseling, because you're like, man, a lot of people are
Hmm.
impacted by trauma. But
Hmm.
starting there is, I think, is ideal.
Agreed, agreed. I was taking some
Mhm.
notes of, processing a question for myself of identifying what truly matters. And the first thing came with the values and beliefs. What do you value? What do you believe?
Mhm.
Um, I was talking to a friend, we talking about relationships and dating and things. And a
Mhm.
guy said he's spiritual. I don't know what that means. The value is that you're Christian, Jesus, so that's a value for me. That's important for me. So
Mhm.
being intentional, why would I waste my time with something that I know is not connecting with what is important to me? Okay. So we're
Yeah.
talking about being intentional. Another thing is
Mhm.
our well-being. Like you said, your feelings and emotions. If this person makes you feel sad all the time, we got to intentionally avoid them so that
Yeah.
we don't have that feeling, because that's not a good place to be. But if they bring us joy, we want to be around them more.
Mhm.
Our career, being intentional. Are
Mhm.
you at the job that you want to be in? Now, how
Right.
long did it take you to get to a job that you was like, all right, I like this?
Here, and something you said earlier, it made me think about like capacity and
Hmm.
like intentionality.
Yeah.
When you know where you're supposed to be, I
Hmm.
believe that you would get to have the capacity you need to be there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even if it is somebody who you're supporting and it may be hard and may be challenging, and especially being a believer, being able to say, you know what, Lord, I think you put me here. And if you place me here, you are going to give me the capacity to be able to show up, to support how I need to. There are a lot of people who need support, but you may not be called to every single person in every season, but
Big.
having that capacity and knowing. And then
Yeah.
even thinking about a job and where I want to be. There have been some jobs I've been in where I'm like, you know what, I like this right
Hmm.
now for the season, right?
Uh-huh.
And it might be great, it might be good, but then it's like I might need to move on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I definitely had to do that before where it's like, I like this, but I think there's something else that I need to be giving my attention to. So that means that I have to let this go so
Hmm.
that I can be open for what the Lord wants to do for something else.
Hmm.
Because if
Hmm.
I'm not, then I'll be distracted. I might have this inkling in the back of my mind,
Yeah.
but I may not be fully open to something different, something new. So it changes in every season, but
Hmm. Hmm.
I've also learned to take in the fruits and the just the benefit of where I am in the moment. Like, what can I
Hmm.
learn here?
Yeah.
Right? If
Yeah.
I'm talking to people all the time, how can I better make people feel special? You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
how can I be supportive? How can I be welcoming? Just finding the gold in where I'm at.
Yes, I like that of saying for the season, because sometimes we get a job, it is not that all the bells and whistles, right? But we needed to maintain our values, that roof over our head, the car, things for our household, food, and the necessities, right? But as time moves on, you do the hustle and grind to then find what it is that you are looking for that does bring
Yeah,
that fulfillment. Because some people be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna quit," and I can't quit unless I got something together on the other side of quit.
right.
Because the bills are going to keep on coming, right?
They
So
don't
being
quit.
intentional in that too, and moving strategically so that we're not falling into
Mhm.
any holes. And I like that. It does take a second. It's okay if you don't like it, if you want to change it up, all those different things. Following that process and trusting the process.
Yes, because it's a process, and you gotta love the journey. You gotta learn to love the journey. Because if you
Yeah.
don't, you are. Sometimes we can be in the valley longer than we are on a mountaintop,
Mm.
and you got to know what it is to be in the valley and still have joy and peace during that time. Like, how do I love this development that's happening and be
Hmm.
grateful for it? Because that's what
Hmm.
that's what makes you. You know.
Yes. Finding the joy in the valley, finding the joy in the high. Because even when you're having good days, it's like, oh, I love this, I want to be here. But then sometimes you be like, what was I thinking? You got to
Hmm.
go back to that weekly or that monthly review of how
Yeah.
this is aligned with what I want it to be.
Yes, absolutely.
So, in that, how obviously the opposite of this, in finding something that doesn't align with us, that doesn't help us to be intentional about living, if it doesn't feel comfortable. I think the analogy I use sometimes the shoe. If a shoe is too small, mm, it's time for you to get a new one. You need to go up a size. And sometimes if it's too big, you got to come down a size. But sometimes we don't realize that the shoe is too small or too big, and we're just
Yeah.
surviving. How can we work to identify that we do need to move? We are growing, or we have outgrown or shrunk in this situation.
Yeah. I mean, definitely going back to your values to figure that out. I know for myself and just my relationship with the Lord of just seeing how things are moving, seeing
Hmm.
how things are changing, and it
Hmm.
might start with a discomfort. And I really try not to allow my feelings to lead wherever I'm going or what's going on,
Hmm.
because if I do, I might leave too soon, I might make a move too late or whatever it is. So
Hmm.
just evaluating my feelings, like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm feeling this. Is it because I'm not taking care of myself? Because when I'm
Hmm.
not taking care of myself, I got a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
But it may
Yeah.
not be, my feelings are valid, but it may not be the truth of the situation. But
Yeah.
let's say my feelings are reflecting a truth. So then
Yeah.
I'm like examining, I'm looking for different opportunities, I'm seeing what's happening around me. And then I test the waters like, is it time for me to move? Or
Yeah.
maybe just do a small pivot. And that's
Mm-hmm.
important because a lot of times we can, chuck the deuces and say, I'm out
Yeah.
because this feels uncomfortable. But maybe
Yeah.
the discomfort is there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Or the discomfort could be saying, like, all right, you need to move. Or the Lord is
Yeah.
telling me, okay, I'm moving you somewhere else. And that's okay too. So it takes a lot of, again, checking in, doing the
Yeah.
check ins. Because if you don't do the check ins, your feelings going to take you all different places. I think of feelings like a tree. There are branches on a tree. You got to
Yes.
check the roots and what's the root of it? Where's it?
Yeah.
Where's it coming from?
Yes. I love that. I use that too. Whew. What is the root of it? So good. So good. We gotta be able to check out to see what's going on. If it works, if it
Yeah,
doesn't work. I
yeah.
like it. I like it. I don't have
Hmm.
nothing to add that time. You know, you've been knocking out the door. I just be adding little salt, little extra stuff. So in that, sometimes we can feel guilty because seasons change, right?
Mhm.
Because even people, places, and things, specifically friends, sometimes your dynamic changes. It could be a season where y'all talking every day, then life starts to happen. You're talking maybe once every other week or once a month. But then after a while, it's like, wait, I ain't talked to her, I ain't heard her. And somebody in the comments, I'm
Yeah.
coming to see you, sunshine. Oh,
Mhm.
oh, I know it's gonna come. I'm ahead of time, I'm letting you know I'm coming. But making sure we're being intentional of keeping those connections together as well.
Yeah, yeah. I know. Definitely. I think about this and then thinking about how I move and how I operate and how I am, how Jenay is, and then
Mhm.
considering how my friends are and what
Yeah.
they need. And I know honesty is important from both ends, being able to say, hey, like this is how I feel, this is what I've been observing, so that we can give each other the opportunity to say what's going on or what's happening or what pivot that we need, because
Mhm.
sometimes you don't, when you're going through a transition, you may not know the adjustments that you need for that season. Things just start happening, and you're like, okay, like I'm just trying to keep up, and I want my friends to know that I love them and I care about them.
Mhm.
So just being able to be honest and transparent is important because I think that's what keeps things alive.
Yeah.
You will go through rough patches with your friends. You
Mhm. Mhm.
will. It will be uncomfortable. You may not talk to your friends as much as you want to, or it
Mhm.
may not be what it was before, but is it a true thing, right?
Mhm.
Is it a
Mhm.
good thing? Um, and in those moments when you are able to connect, is it a supporting thing as well?
Yeah. Yeah. And understanding that seasons change. There's some times that I'm going through and I go to call somebody and they don't answer. I go to call somebody else, don't answer. I be like, all right, guys, so it's me and you, obviously. It's not meant for me to talk to nobody else. I need to talk to you. And like I use that time to be intentional about resetting myself because obviously something that's bothering me is getting me off kilter. And that part of being intentional is like taking those pauses when you need it, doing that reset when you need it, so that you can be
Yeah,
able to keep going in this thing called life.
yeah, absolutely. That right there. Because in those moments, the pessimist in our mind or the
Hmm.
enemy
Hmm.
just comes in and it's like, it's kind of like, tag me in so I
Yeah,
can tell you
yeah,
how bad things are. Tag me in so I
yeah,
can tell you that the Lord don't care about you. Tag me
yes,
in so I can make you think that no good thing has ever happened to you. That's
yes,
usually what's going on in our minds when we get disappointed or, the people we wanted to connect with aren't available to connect with. It's kind
yes,
of like rain down everything negative and forget
yeah,
anything that the Lord has ever done. And
yes,
I'm susceptible of it. I've done it before. And I'm like, Lord, help me practice the things that you've done. Help me do that. Help me remember
yeah,
that. Because we can
yeah.
forget. We all
We
forget.
can forget. Which leads to my next question or talking point is talking about how faith and spirituality impacts intentional living, right? Last week, normally my church does a prayer and fasting week um,
Hmm.
in January. That's like, we know we're going to do it. And
Hmm.
it's funny because normally I get on a good track of eating right, eating breakfast, eating lunch, eating dinner, because I do unintentional fast all the time. I'm like, well, God, we thank you for this unintentional fast. Whatever I need, work it out, right? But this week, I was really intentional. Like, I'm going to, do what I got to do to make sure I'm doing, you know,
Yeah.
stepping away from some things, making sure I'm reading my Bible, making sure I'm just, we go and we had prayer and then we had like revival and things of that sort. But I was really intentional. So intentional that Saturday came. It ended on Friday. Saturday came in my mind. thought I was still on that thing. I said, Jennifer, you can eat today. But that's what happened when you really get intentional, you lock in. It's like, I can't let nothing distract me. I got to make sure I'm getting myself together because one, I can't do nothing without God. I have tried to do some things on my own, and it does not work out all the time. So with our faith and spirituality, with intentional living, we got to be intentional with staying connected to the source.
Yes, we got to be intentional. And one thing my pastor always says is that we always have as much as the Lord as we want. As much of the Lord as we want. So if you want this much, you will get that much. But if you want this much, he'll give you this much and he'll give you more. And the Lord always over delivers. That's number one. Even if you ask for this much, he'll give you about this much, right? And he always over delivers. So, and I know our church is going through a Bible in a year, and it's been amazing. I'm so happy about how many people are just locked in. And it's like we got a team that's going after it, that's posting, that's keeping us encouraged. It's a chat going. And it's been encouraging me to continue to look through the scriptures for things that I haven't seen before, to be able to go through Genesis and look at Abraham and look at the promises and see how the Lord works. And I always need to be reminded of these things. And that's that intentionality, and that's intentionality in community, which helps you. Like, none of us are perfect. There are some days it's like, man, I didn't get to all my reading, but I'm still doing this. I'm still have that intentionality of getting it done is still there. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect, but it means that I'm moving forward.
Yes. And the other part of being intentional is if the church is doing it or if the church not doing it, you make sure you're doing what you need to do to get yourself together. So a couple of years ago, me and a friend, we tried reading the Bible in a year. I don't know what day I made it to. I did not break out. I tapped out. She didn't make it. However, we were talking about it again. So we actually started it. And how I've been working to keep myself accountable is I do a video. So I'll read the scriptures, and then it has like a reflection piece that you write up and things of that sort. And I'll do a video. Today, day 6 of reading the Bible in a year, I read blah, 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 blah. Here are my takeaways. And it's keeping me on it, because the minute that I don't post a video, it's going to be somebody be like, what happened to it? Somebody that you don't know, but that was watching and following you and things of that sort. So you really sometimes need that community to be intentional about what you need to keep your thing forward.
I love that accountability. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this, because sometimes to hold yourself accountable, if you don't want to be held accountable, you don't tell nobody. You kind of like, you just don't nobody need to know, because if it don't happen, nobody knew it was supposed to happen. But I love that.
Check back in with me in March.
I got you. Listen, even if we're gonna jump back in, right? Because there's no condemnation. We're gonna continue to move forward. You still got the rest of the year.
I'm gonna make it this year. I'm gonna be intentional about making it. We're gonna make it. Yes. And that's it. That's it. Hey, Belinda, what she said? She said, yes, I love taking time to reset. I'm so used to being available when dealing with my own emotions. I'm quick to push my feelings aside for others. I'm running with reset. Yes. And being intentional, you want to do a reset. Because you could go out the house and you're having a great day and there's something happening and your feelings off. You're like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? And as you do a reset, you can find out what is happening. As ladies, we have like a friend that come visit, we be like, oh, it's about to come. Or it could be an anniversary of death. Oh, that's what's happening. So like doing that reset is really important.
Yeah, you know what I think it also does, reminds us that we're not God, right? We need to lean on God. And that we need to understand that when we neglect ourselves, meaning really neglecting to check in with the Lord. I know for me, it's kind of like, I want to extend myself. I want to give. I want to be there, and I want to support. And I can do that if I'm going to the Lord for my source. You know what I mean? Because whatever the Lord has me doing is supernatural. That's just it. That's just period, blank. So if the Lord is giving me something supernatural to do, I need to check in with something supernatural, which is the Lord. So it also includes how I'm feeling, what's going on between my ears, because if I don't submit that to the Lord, whatever good could leak out, whatever is wrong is going to leak out. And that's not going to be a good situation if it's not submitted.
And it's so important for us to address and deal with these issues as they come along, because we'll forget about them and then it'll pile up. I like to use a rice analogy. If the rice just keep falling because we're not dealing with it, Rice in your shoe is uncomfortable after a while. It's like a little rock, a little pebble. It's just uncomfortable,
Mhm.
you know? You
Yeah.
don't want that. If it's in your clothes, it's like, what is this? It's just something going on.
Yeah.
You have to do something with that rice. Make some fried rice, make some rice pudding, make some brown rice, jasmine rice, green rice, somebody rice. You got to do something with it so that you don't have
Mhm.
that problem.
I love that rice analogy. All types of rice, and it's good, right? It's a different
Yeah,
flavor, but
yeah,
that's what it's all about because we bring
yeah,
different flavors of life, of experiences, and it's like if you got that pile, let's start divvying this out. Like,
yeah,
what pot do we need
yes,
to put it in?
yes. Now, another part of this, in being intentional, what do you think people are avoiding about being intentional? Because it's going to call for sacrifices. Is that why they're avoiding being intentional, you think? What's going on?
I think it could be like people may not want to set time aside and sacrifice for it, or people don't want to fail, and that's
Mm,
real. Being like, I
mhm,
don't want to look like a fool. I don't want to start this and then lose it, or I'm telling
yeah.
everybody I'm doing this thing and then it don't happen. And I know
Mhm,
I have suffered with that, and sometimes it definitely rises up. And I think one thing that I'm grateful for what the Lord has done in my life is help me not to care so much if I fail.
yeah,
Because I have been able to look back and say, man, opportunity A, B, and C came up and I didn't go after any of them.
yeah.
Imagine if I did. And then you got
Mhm,
that running in the back of your mind.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, and if the worst somebody could say is no, I remember I had applied, I had applied to a job for organization 3 different times. Three.
Mhm.
It was a no. It was a very, you so nice. This is not, I was never what they was looking for.
Oh, man.
And having to, and then even thinking about the job and meeting people who were doing the job and they were great, but being like, I could have done this. I
Mhm,
could have done this job,
mhm,
but it
mhm,
wasn't for me. But I have to be like, okay, I'm grateful that I still took the time to even seek it out because that did
mhm,
something in me and for me. And it
mhm.
gave me the confidence I needed to move to the next space. But I think people don't want to be disappointed. And
Different
change is hard because
Mm,
when you've been surviving in a certain way, maybe life isn't the way you want it to be, but it's
mhm.
something that you know how to maneuver,
Yeah,
right? But going into something new that you have not had to maneuver before, that's scary, right? That's
yeah.
something that you don't want to mess with, um,
Mhm, mhm.
and that can hold a lot of us back.
That's so big because you're like, I know, Imma stay with the devil that I do know, all right? I
Yes,
know all the quirks of this. If I
yes.
step into that, it might not work out.
Hmm.
Another part is and me reading my Bible every day, because Lot thought that he had picked their best pasture, to go to. And
Hmm.
sometimes with jobs, it made me think of a time that I accepted a job because I thought it was better than other options that I had. And that thing almost took me out. It
Yeah,
was not where I was
yeah.
supposed to be. And sometimes,
Mhm.
even though we are qualified for it, also being okay with that no,
Yeah.
which is
Uh-huh.
very hard. I
Hmm.
appreciate taking that risk to step out and try for it, but also I've been there too, trying different times for the same similar things, and they be like, no, 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 because God's need to be on our eye, and we think that it'll be great. Then we get there, be like that thing might have took me out. I might not have made it. So I
Right.
appreciate those no's because it leads you to
Absolutely.
another door where you should be.
Exactly. And it teaches you something. Like if you got
Yeah.
heard yes all the time, you
Mhm.
wouldn't know how to hear a no or know how to pivot from a no, you
Yeah.
know?
How to pivot from a no. I'm
Hmm.
working yeah, I can share it. I'm working on a couple projects. One of them is I had a guest and I was like, I need an anchor now. But in the word kind, I'll tell you what the end is until I release it all. But the end
Uh-huh.
was no, not yet, not ever. Right?
Mhm.
And in being intentional, we have to embrace those no's, not yet, not ever.
Yeah.
Because if we get a yes every time, we ain't gonna know how to act. We ain't gonna know
No.
how to act.
I'm not gonna
We
know how to
keep
act.
going and we keep
No.
on getting yeses. It
Mhm.
gotta happen. That little entitlement thing come, right? When
Yes.
God wants us to
Hmm.
stay humble. So sometimes he'll tell us a no,
Yeah.
not yet, not ever.
Hmm.
And a
Hmm.
no can change at any time. But that not yet sometimes be like, I want to do some more work on you. I need you to be more intentional, showing up and being present. And that not ever is like, no, because you ain't the pretty food if I give you that.
Mm.
I'm grateful for the not evers.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know?
And and being satisfied with it.
and being satisfied.
And being satisfied with it because that'll drive you crazy. That'll
Yeah.
drive you up a wall and back chasing something that's not for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because you want it so bad.
Yeah.
And I think as life goes on and I start to let go of the things that I wanted so bad. And it's just been something that's been, and when I want it so bad, I'm thinking about it all the time. Like
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
like clenches my heart.
Yeah.
I have to really like submit it. And I also don't want to underestimate or minimize the things that are on people's hearts that you might want. Because it can be
Yeah.
something good. It can
Mm-hmm.
be
Mm-hmm.
for leave for a family member or
Yeah.
whatever it
Yeah.
is. But at the same time, uh, making sure that it's not something that we are holding on to, like we have control over it. You
Yes.
know, that's a
Mm.
hard thing.
Oh, we here now. The other part is also not allowing it to consume so much of our thinking, so much of our mind, that we're not focused on the other things we need to be doing. I know you want a family. I know you want to meet. I know you want kids. I know you want the house.
Hmm.
I know you want the car. But sometimes we need to just get through today, right? And
Yeah.
because we're so tied up on it, every time somebody walk past, is that the one? Is that it? Oh, it's late. Is that
Hmm.
it? All these different things that get in our mind and it'll
Yeah.
consume us. And then we're on this thing of we just wait for it to happen, wait for it to happen. And then we're missing moments in that. So we also have to trust the process of whatever it is
Hmm.
that we're waiting for, whatever it is that we're seeking for. It's the process. Even in healing, healing doesn't always happen on this side. And I know I hate it too because you want the people to be here a little longer, but everybody has their set time. Another thing for me reading my Bible,
Hmm.
it was reminding us how this person lived to be 800, this person lived to be 400, this person lived to be. Everybody has their set amount of numbers, and though we
Yeah.
want them to stay, sometimes it is their time to go, and it breaks our heart. I know grief is a pain in the booty, okay,
Yeah.
but it helps to make us stronger. We get to encourage other people, and we get stronger from those situations. So again, trust in the process, being
Trust in the
patient with
process.
ourselves.
Yes. And I think about delighting in the Lord.
Ah,
And we gotta delight in the Lord, and we can't delight in anything else because nothing else is forever.
yeah,
So
yeah.
everything else is going to disappoint us. Whether we get
Hmm.
the family, we get married,
Hmm.
we have kids. People say as long as we want them to on this earth, but at some
Hmm.
point those things are going to disappoint us greatly. So I need to delight in the Lord. So when I do
Hmm.
get these things, I can be grateful. I can care for them well, but
Come
not
on.
so those things don't take away my delight.
Hmm. Hmm.
Meaning don't take away my joy, don't take away my peace. It
Yes.
might attack it. Our peace and joy will get attacked for
Yes,
sure, for
for
sure.
sure.
But at the end of the day, like when it talks about delighting in the Lord, it is for a reason because there's nothing
Yes.
else that we can delight in for real, for real.
And that's so good. And that goes back to like that no, not yet, not ever, right? Because we'll get something and then we'll forget who gave it to us. And
Hmm.
we can't sustain it on our own because we're going to find out, oh, you got feelings and emotions that you ain't deal with? God, what you gave me? Then we remember them. This that you gave me, things that sort. But staying
Hmm.
connected, like God, how can I cultivate this gift that you have given me? How can I use it
Yeah.
wisely? How can I not be too high-minded or too low-minded where I can really embrace and engage and enjoy and delight myself in this blessing that you've given me?
Yes, and it makes you be able to enjoy those things more because your
Yeah,
expectations of them aren't
yeah,
godly,
hmm,
right? It's not like I'm not expecting God from you
yeah,
because
yeah,
I delight in the Lord. So now I
yes,
have more grace for you.
hmm, hmm, yes.
Yeah.
Another part is not to get distracted because distractions happen. Social media
Yeah.
gets us in trouble a lot, right? Because a lot of things
Hmm.
that you're waiting for, or you would like, or you aspire to have, you'll see other people with it, and then as
Yeah.
you let them keep on living, you find out, oh, they got a lot going on beyond, with that video or that picture shared and things of that
Hmm.
sort. So, what are some things that help us to stay present and not get distracted by those things?
Mm. I think those little things we stay in our mind, right? I think our neural pathways. If I see Jen out there taking flights, going here, conference speaking, doing all of the things, right? Doing what she was called to do, right? And it's
Yes,
great,
yes.
it's beautiful, it's blessed.
Mhm.
And we see Jen doing all of these things, but we don't think that Jen has any other issues. So that the narrative
Mm,
we're telling ourselves is that Jen is living her best life and there's
yeah.
no issues or challenges that she has to go through, which is
Mm,
probably wildly untrue. because you may not know about those things, it's giving ourselves a reality check when we see
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And rejoicing and being able to say that's what's up, that's dope, because that's what the Lord might have for this person, right? And then also sometimes people want to put a front on at times, which is sad to say. And I'm never here to say who's doing it and who's not. But again, sometimes people are chasing an image, and you never want something that people are chasing to cause you to be discouraged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you also don't want to covet what someone else has. But putting just things into perspective, like you don't know what somebody went through to get to what they have. You have
Mm-hmm.
no idea. You don't know
No
what they're
idea.
going through currently. So, you can see social media, you can look, you can, want certain things, but don't allow it to take you away into a space that's not even real.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so big because definitely you could see people on the forefront doing so many amazing things and not really know what's going on behind scenes. There's a lot of times you push forward, I push forward, I'm like, I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. That's something small. I got to stay focused on the other things that I got to do because if I get caught up in this, I'm not going to finish
Mhm.
those things. Then I'm going to get set back. Then depression can come in, agitation, irritation. I just don't want to do nothing, the
Yeah.
blues. And we have to
Mhm.
also be intentional about if we feeling ourselves get into a hole, yes, have our sad moments, just have our moment of tears, but we got to come out of there. We can't stay there long. Okay. We normalize addressing mental health. If you feel like you've been in a funk a little too long, it's the beginning of the year. Let's address it quickly. Let's tend to it
Yeah.
quickly. Our jobs
Mhm.
offer employee assistance programs where you can talk to someone.
Yeah.
Your insurance will cover you talking to someone. Your churches have somebody that you could talk to. Your communities have somebody that you could talk to. Because if you feel like you haven't been yourself for a little while, I encourage you, I implore you to connect with somebody. I offer some check-ins where like you just need to talk. Did one last week of talking with a young lady. I just try to figure out what I need to be doing. We talk through it, make sure you're feeling good, make a referral if needed to someone else to get some other supports
Yeah.
in place. But don't go through it alone. You do not have to go through this thing called life alone.
You don't, and you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to present
Mhm.
perfection. None
Mhm.
of us are. We're all just struggling through a lot of the times, but those times where we're able to come together and work
Mhm.
together, that's what makes it beautiful. It makes it worth it.
Yeah.
And it just grows something that can't grow just by yourself.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
it's like sandpaper. We're making each other better as we go.
Yes. Yes. I like it. That's
Yeah.
the part I want us to talk about is the boundaries of it, right? And being intentional. People can sometimes test the boundaries of them needing something and you not having the capacity or having the capacity, but also being able
Mhm.
to say no, whether you have it or don't have it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about boundaries as we are embracing 2026. How should
Mhm.
we establish them?
Mm, definitely think about them, definitely have them. Um, and I think one thing I've seen people do is like weaponize boundaries. So instead of using them to kind of allow us to be in community and relationship well, I'm using it to like push you away or cut you up or make you feel less than or beat you up. But being able to figure out like again, knowing where the Lord has called you to be supernaturally, because then you might say, I have the capacity to go further here, or I can stretch myself a little more. This is where I need to be stretching myself. This is where I can answer the call like more than I would usually because I have the capacity here. And being honest, you know what I mean, and being transparent. Um, these are all really important things because it helps you not to get bitter, and start to have an attitude. And when you let people know what you can and can't do, then they're able to navigate things well. Then they're not upset with you about something that you said you can do but you can't do. And it takes time. Nobody is perfect with it, but being able to be honest because you don't want to lead somebody on or disappoint anyone, but it is important. Again, like I can't be there for every single thing for everybody, but there probably are a lot of things that I could be there for if I allow the Lord to lead me, right? And He can give me what I need and show me what those boundaries are at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. I've read someone that said that boundaries are really us in a nutshell telling people what we will and what we won't allow in our lives. A video that I share with kids, it shows where it's like a fence, it's a gate of what you want to keep out, what you want to let in. And the important part is understanding what those needs are, what you are okay with letting in, what you want to let go of, communicating that, you know, and being consistent.
Yeah.
Because the minute you relax the days, oh, it's okay, and they go over them, they feel like, oh, I can keep doing it. My god sister, love her. She has a gate. She put up a gate in her yard because people like walk on her grass. Now, how they walk on it, I don't know, because you have to intentionally walk on it because it's not on the sidewalk. It's on the sidewalk, but it's not blocking you from walking. You had to now step into her grass. She had to put a gate up because, like, I don't know why these people feel like they could keep coming on my. She said some other words, but she was communicating. I don't want you walking into my garden area here. You know, walk on the sidewalk. That's where you're supposed to be walking. And sometimes you have to put up that fence. You got to put up that border to say, look, you can't come up here. Now it's private property. You know, now you got to put the sign out. Be careful of the dog. Where's the dog? I'm the dog. I'm going to get you. Stay off my property, right? Of you enforcing whatever that boundary is of what people can and can't do. And it's really important for us to communicate it because we'll say, I didn't like that, and we'll keep on going. So they'll keep on doing it. It's not until we communicate to say, I knew this guy, he was talking, he was going to hit. And I was like, please don't hit me when you're talking. I know you're excited. Don't hit me. You ain't got to put your hands on, you know? But that's the way of communicating. I just didn't like it. That was a no-go for me. So I had to communicate that, and they stopped doing it.
Exactly. Being able to is so important. And I think about, is it Nehemiah building a wall? And he's building this wall and they're trying to distract him, right? They're sending word from the king, like, hey, like, what are you doing? They're trying to block the work that the Lord has sent him to do, the burden that was on his heart. And I'm like, man, like he really had to stand up tall and say, who are you to tell me that I'm not doing this? Because the Lord has sent me to do this. So I'm going to do it. And even thinking about Abraham and when he was making the sacrifice, when the Lord showed him how to make the sacrifice and what he needed to put on the altar, and he was waiting and the vultures were coming and trying to eat the sacrifice and he shooed them away. It was like, this is a boundary. This is a God-given boundary, and you can't do this. You know what I mean? You can't do this. So knowing when to, like, okay, like I need to gird up. Like this isn't something that I can't allow happen. Because I know where the Lord has called me to do. I know that this is something that the Lord wants me to be intentional about. So because I'm going to be intentional about this, and this is the wheelhouse that he's given me this season, then I'm protecting it. You know, I'm protecting it. I'm loving others at the same time, but it also means that you still have to protect it.
Yes, and that should be an intentional, because he could have said, all right, the birds are coming. All right, get what you want. No, stay away.
Right, or it didn't come yet. I've been waiting here for an hour, and it didn't come yet, so I'm just going to let the vultures just eat it up.
Yes.
Don't do that. Don't do that, because sometimes things don't come. They don't come when you want it, but they'll come right on time, right? The Lord is always he's going to show up, but, you know, we at least have to do the last thing he told us to do, even if we're still waiting on the next instructions.
Yes. So in that, we talked about how, like, you know, stinking thinking, negative thoughts and unhelpful thoughts that come along. Yeah. What are some ways we can work to silence those negative thoughts or remove those negative thoughts so that we can keep on pushing forward and being intentional about our goals that we have for ourselves?
You know, you gotta prepare for war when you're not in war. You know, hopefully, you know, sometimes we can find ourselves in challenging times or crisis, and we're trying to like prepare and fight at the same time. Like I'm trying to gather my arrows and shoot them at the same time, but I can't find my arrows. I don't know where they are. So I know for myself, I gotta gather my arrows. I have to think about, like, where are the areas that I get attacked at most? Let me write some scripture out and let me put them on the wall. I remember when I was a senior in college, and I just was going through a lot of depression. Like it was just bad. It was just like a cloak. And I just started writing down scriptures and putting them on my wall. I put them on my dresser. I put them in places that I can see, because I was like, I know when I wake up in the morning, like, I don't know if I can make it through the day. So when I wake up, I turn over, I see my dresser, my dorm room, I can read this off. You know what I mean? I can take this and I can help this. These are my arrows. These are the things that I'm gathering that can help me as I go. because again, when you are stressed, right, when that's happening, your lid is flipped, right? Your brain
Mhm,
isn't actually working together. So
mhm,
you got to
mhm.
find something quick. You got to find
Yes,
something easily accessible. You can't, that's not the time to sit down and research something because it's going to be harder to do that at that time, you know?
for sure, for sure. When you said that, I like that preparing for war. So for Thanksgiving, right? I know it has already passed. But for Thanksgiving, you're trying to do a dinner. You can't wait till the day of to say, "I'm going to do Thanksgiving. Then I need a turkey." You have to have that ahead of time. You have to have all the things you need for it ahead of time. You making macaroni and
Mhm.
cheese, sweet potatoes, greens. You got to have your products ahead of time. You could go the day of. You could go the day of. But for a turkey, it's probably not going to be thawed out and things of the sort. So you have to prepare. You have to go ahead of time to get all
Yeah.
the tools that you need. It's so important because if
Mhm.
you wait to the day of, they coming over, everybody excited, we don't smell nothing, or dinner is
Right.
really not done at the time you told us to come because you didn't start on time. So we have to
Mhm.
be proactive. When
Yeah.
we're going to school and taking classes, they give us that syllabus where we know ahead of time what's required, what books do we need,
Yeah.
and things that sort. The kids going back to school, right? How many
Mhm.
composition books do you need? We know we need a book bag because we got to carry it, so we're getting that
Mhm.
ahead of time. But pencils and tissues and all those different things,
Yes.
making sure we're prepared ahead of time. Don't be unprepared this year. Let's move with intention. You're running low on
Yeah.
toilet paper, make sure you go buy some. It's the simple
Yes.
things of being intentional. It's the simple things of being prepared. You want that last couple of bottles of water, there's 5 left, go ahead and buy some more because you know you're going to need it. There's 3
Mhm.
trash bags left. Go ahead and buy some more because something's going to happen and you're going to have none. And you be like, dang, I want it. Being
Uh-huh.
intentional, shopping ahead of time,
Exactly.
writing out a list, going
Exactly.
to old school.
Yes, writing
Um,
out a list, writing things down is underrated. Okay.
yeah,
I got my notebooks here. I love my
yeah,
notebooks, a nice notebook to write stuff down.
yes.
Priceless. Priceless.
Priceless. We need those things. So again,
Mhm.
friends, being intentional, reframing those unhealthy thoughts. If you feel like it's making you sad, we want to reshift our mind, get ourselves back focused on what it is that we're trying to do so that we don't give up. This is
Yes.
January. I want us to be in December. Actually, I want us to be in August saying, yo, the first half of this year has been amazing. What's coming for the next half? Because I'm being intentional about the different things I
Yes.
want to do. I'm being intentional about where my money is going. I'm being intentional about saving. I'm being intentional about spending money. I was telling Jenay, I can't buy no more clothes till I get rid of some clothes that I have because I got too many. And the summer is coming.
Mhm.
I just feel like I need something new. The spring is
That
coming.
itch,
The
right? That
winter is here.
seasonal,
I
yeah.
just feel like I need something new, but I
Tuesday is
cannot
here. Tuesday. Now I want to just go buy some. Just Tuesday.
say but I cannot buy anything unless I get rid of some stuff. Now, I'm sending some stuff to Goodwill. I know some people that send some stuff away to Africa and things of the sort. It got to get out of here, okay?
Yes.
Before I buy something else. And then when I buy it, I also got to be intentional about using it because you'll buy something and it'll just sit there.
Looking cute as it was when you purchased it. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I, I'm not going to tell myself no more. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I'm trying to do better. I'm being intentional in January. I haven't bought
Yes.
any clothes because I can. I got to make sure I'm being intentional and using what I do have here. They be like, wear
Mm.
orange. Jennifer, you got orange in there. You don't got to buy nothing orange. Wear white. You got white in there. You ain't got to buy nothing white. And there's those things where like, I just feel like I got to get it. You don't. And that's that
Uh-huh.
part of being intentional. How bad do you want to be able to save money? How bad do you want to not be living paycheck to paycheck? How bad do you want to get out of debt?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you're intentional, you'll say, nope, I can't do that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And even to those who might feel like they don't want to set out goals because they feel like they might disappoint themselves, imagine writing out a list of 3 goals and imagine getting to December. What if you accomplish one of those goals? How awesome and amazing will you feel? You're going to feel great. You're going to appreciate the work that you've done. You're going to feel encouraged. It's okay if everything didn't get done, but at least one of those things got done. And if you didn't write them down, would you have gotten it done? You know what I mean? Or would you be able to reflect on and encourage yourself and remind yourself what the
Yeah.
Lord has done? Because we
Mhm.
forget. We
Yeah.
forget. Again, this is another way of reminding ourselves like the Lord is good. Even if everything didn't happen, these are the things that did happen. Let me
Yeah.
recount the blessings. Let me look at these
Mhm.
stones that are,
Mhm.
is the Lord told Israel to set up stones after he delivered them from Egypt to remind
Yes.
them. So he said, when your generations and your kids will look and say, "What are these stones?" You're like, "Well, this is what the Lord did. This is how he
Mhm.
split the Red Sea. This is how
Yes.
he did these things for us." And it's like we need those things. It is very important because we're going to forget. We're like,
Yes. And giving ourselves grace, right? Because you said there was 3 goals and you met 1. To meet that 1 goal might have taken a gazillion different steps. So celebrate those small wins. Your goal was to pay off a bill. Every month you were intentional about paying it off, paying it down, and not adding another one. You did that. The
exactly.
restraint that you had in January to not buy something paid off, right?
Yes.
We being real. We get that itch. We feel
Mhm.
like we just need things, right? But those little steps that you did to get to that goal,
Yeah,
commendable. Pat yourself on the back. You did that.
absolutely. You did it. And you did
I want
it
to
and enjoy it.
highlight some daily practices that we could do to support us in intentionally living, right? So the reflection part came from us reflecting on 2025. What do we do
Mhm.
good? What could we have changed? What do we want to try to do more of? What do we need to try to do less of? But with
Yeah.
being intentional daily, it really looks like being present in the moment, because sometimes we could get
Yeah.
ourselves, you ever been driving and you're like, wait, how did I get here? We were not present in the moment. We were not intentionally paying attention to make sure we could get from point A to point B. Okay.
Yeah.
And how these people
Mhm.
drive these days and how the weather is, you just want to be mindful and careful.
Yes.
But
Yes.
creating some routines, prioritize. We talked about that. And
Mhm.
decluttering. Janae was talking about, the journal, writing some things out.
Yeah.
Avoiding comparison. Somebody wrote a song that said comparison kills. It does.
Mhm. Kills a lot of things, and you don't even know it.
You don't even know it.
You don't
Learning
even
to
know
say
it.
no, strengthen relationships, learning from others, rest and self care. These are some simple things we can do to help us to be more intentional. Going to sleep at a reasonable time. I'm talking to myself because I'm a night owl, but then I pay for it
Mhm.
sometimes in the morning. Um, but being intentional, making sure our body is getting rested. When you going to the doctor, getting things checked out. If you feel an ailment, going to get it checked out early because sometimes we find out too late and we could have addressed it earlier on and we were feeling it for a while. So being intentional, making sure you're going to the dentist is
Mhm.
very important for dental hygiene is important. Going to the dentist, going to your general practitioner, any
Yeah.
specialist as needed. Um,
Mhm.
getting your car checked out. They got the
I'm not gonna
meme.
look
They
at myself.
do us females dirty because the meme would be like the car started making noise, and we turn my music so you
I'm
can
like, oh, that
hear it.
must be the
Don't do
oil.
it. Don't know. You know.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be
Don't
disappointed.
be
It's
afraid.
okay. Go get it looked at.
Don't be afraid to be disappointed because it's better that you get it fixed before it turns into something different, right?
Or go see.
Yeah.
Just to go explore. Go find out. Even if you don't know if you're gonna have it all.
Yes.
Also, that's walking in faith as well, right? You're going with intentionality. Like, I need to get this checked out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's
Yeah.
see. Because if you
Yes.
don't, sometimes I don't go get things checked out, and I'm like, oh, that's all it was. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I needed. I could have
Mm-hmm.
done this 6 months ago, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
because I was afraid of being disappointed or not having it.
I, apparently, I like telling myself. I go to I have braces. I think they come off this year. It's been almost 2 years now. Well, it'll be 2 years this year. Nevertheless, I go every 3 months. I think it is to do a bit of cleaning and things because it could be different with braces and things. And
Mhm.
when I went, they wanted to do a referral for me to go see a specialist. I got in my head so bad about going to see that specialist. I went to
Mm.
see the specialist. He said, "Yeah, I don't think you need that." Hmm. What had I not gone? One, I would have still been in my head. But two, it's also
Okay.
it's a precaution. It may
Yeah.
be nothing wrong. It
Yeah.
could be something wrong. But you
Right.
have to go to at least find out. I took my car, the speaker was acting funny. They was like, oh yeah, the sensor's off. It's covered in a warranty. You gotta try and go. You never know. Or it's a recall. I don't have that yet. But if it was a recall, you find out those different things, but you gotta go. Gotta
Yeah.
go.
You gotta go. That's good. Mm.
What are some walkaways that you want us to walk away with on today, Coach Jenay, as we work to move from reflection to intention here in the year 2026?
I want to say definitely be brave. Practice being brave. And I say practice because you might try to be brave and you might have to first encourage yourself. that might take bravery for you to let yourself know, okay, I want to try this. I want to do it. You got to encourage yourself. You got to and set it in your mind like this is something I want to do. And those things turn into action,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you think about something, the more you think about it, the thing you probably will do it. You know, what so a man thinketh, so he is. So you want to practice courage because then that can turn into action. And
Mm-hmm.
that'll definitely change your life. It's not going to be perfect, but it's not going to be what it was before. And
Yeah.
I really definitely want to leave folks with that. You know, I think, I know this weekend I'm doing um, with a team of like amazing women an event, and we are serving, our goal is to serve at least 100 girls and moms and grandmoms and aunties with a boutique and
Nice.
getting clothing. We have a lot of clothes, a lot of purses, a lot of jewelry, all of those things. And it's going to be in West Philly. If anybody's interested, everything is completely free. Please let me know. And even doing something like that takes courage because
Yeah.
it's like, what if I fail? What if what if this doesn't turn out the way you want it to? But
Yeah.
it's like, it goes back to like, how do I know I'm supposed to be doing this? How do I,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And there's different moments of discouragement, but it's like, okay, Lord, I know you've given me favor in a way in these spaces, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you've given me resources that I can pull together, even if it's not perfect the first time or the second time.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is something you want me to exercise. So exercising that courage, just
Mm-hmm.
taking a step forward and then taking another step. And before you know it, you're running, right? And you want to be able to do that if that's where you want to be, that's where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And just exercising that courage.
Friends,
So,
I believe in y'all. We believe in y'all. Y'all be sure to follow Coach Jenay, learn about their program this weekend. You said in West Philly, if you're in the Philadelphia
yes,
area, giving
yes.
away some items. I will share her contact information here on the screen. Be sure to follow her to check out the flyer. Do you have a flyer posted for it?
Not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. But I will.
Okay. But
Yeah.
once it is, I'll be sure to share it so that you can share those resources. Because what happens is once you do something like this, you then do it again. And then you need donations again, right? So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
keep my ear to the streets to know how can we support. Now I'm telling you, I got to give her some clothes, but we want to donate those things, lightly used, gently used, to be able to help somebody
Mm-hmm.
else. It's always a blessing to be a blessing.
Yes.
Oh,
Absolutely.
very nice, very nice. Oh, this is fun as always, Coach Jenay.
Yes. This was great. This was
Yes.
great.
I do hope that, friends, you really are hearing my heart of moving from reflection to intention. I want you to have an amazing 2026. Life is going to life.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be up on the mountaintop, then you're going to be low another day. That it just happens that way. Just because of life, our different feelings and emotions related to it. But we want to be able to identify those emotions, find out what the root of it is, talk to somebody if needed, so that we be intentional about our daily walk, intentional about what it is that we're doing, intentional about what we're saying, what we're spending, how we're living, what we're thinking, who we're connecting with, all those different things. So again, my heart is that we are intentional in 2026. Last week we talked about giving ourselves permission to take a pause, giving ourselves permission to try, right? Giving ourselves permission to knock out that goal. You'd be surprised. Giving ourselves permission, is also being intentional. I want to do it, so let me try. What's the worst that can happen? A house full of clothes, but you're going to see some smiles when the families come, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it pays off. It pays off. So, friends, I do hope that you enjoyed tonight. Yeah, thanks, Coach.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I love being here. Great conversation. We always go through the layers, and I love it.
Yeah, we work it out again. We do how we do, how we do.
Yes.
But yes, thank you so much.
No problem.
Oh, friends, I hope you enjoyed tonight with Coach Jenay. That was really a good time of us talking and learning about how to be present, how to be intentional. Well, let's try it again. How to be present, how to be intentional about this thing called life. I don't want you to give up on yourselves. I want you to be encouraged and to keep on doing whatever you need to do to live a successful life that you are proud of, that you are pleased with, knowing that you're doing your best every day. Don't forget our quote of the day. The key is not to prioritize your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Again, the key is not to prioritize your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Friends, identify what your priorities are. I believe in you. Write out that list. Again, homework from last week was to write out that narrative. What are we liking about our lives? What are we wanting to change? What do we need to adjust? Now, I want you to find out what your priorities are for 2026. We're trying to be intentional, okay? We ain't got time to waste time no more, friends. We want to be intentional. Be sure to join us next week as we will have Lady J Hunter talking about emotional legacy. Oh, I'm all excited because, we learn stuff from those that have gone before us and we get into these cycles. So we can't give ourselves permission. We can't move from reflection to intention sometimes until we deal with some emotions that have come from the legacy of the bloodline and things of that sort, right? So just what's in our family, we copy what we know. Be sure to support chosen counselors. We have our hoodies out. I don't have the capacity. If you're in Philadelphia area, you need a little bit more than just a hoodie. It's chilly out there, okay? But we do have our Check on Your Friends hoodie, and I don't have a capacity hoodie. And then we have a Let Me Ask God First limited edition tee. We also have launched our Boss Girl planner and journal. I'm so excited and grateful for how it has been going. It's in Florida, it's in Delaware, it's in Maryland, it's in Jersey. We all out this place. I'm just so proud of people supporting the movement. So again, I do appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Be sure to join us next week. I thank y'all so much. Until next time, good night.
Thanks for joining Jen Cares this week. Special thanks to our sponsors, Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, guests, and viewers. Such a good conversation. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you found value in today's show, we'd appreciate your sharing it with a friend and dropping a comment down below. Until next time.